Hello again, Indah Melindasari from Wonderland Consulting. I have over 12 years experience as a migration agent and was once a migrant myself. Please click subscribe to get all the best Australian immigration content and updates. I just want to start by saying we at Wonderland Consulting know firsthand how difficult for everybody the travel restrictions and border closure has been this past year and a half. It seems like the end is finally in sight with plans in place to start allowing not just citizens and a permanent resident, but also skilled migrants and international students back. Eventually, tourists and other temporary visa holders, so now is a crucial time to start thinking about your application so you can be ready to come to Australia as soon as the borders are reopened. Migrants and international students have always been a crucial part of Australia's economy, and personally, I can say we look forward to welcoming you back with open arms. Now, let's get started with the latest immigration news for December 2021. Part 1. Update on borders and travel restrictions. Eligible visa holders now can enter Australia without travel exemption. International travel to Western Australia planned to be open by January 2022. Travel bubble between Singapore and Australia commenced on the 21st of November 2021. Part 2. Changes to business and work visas. Section 48 bar is now lifted for subclass 190, 494 and 491 visa application. Upcoming PR pathway arrangements for STSOL for visa 485. Part 3. Other immigration and visa news. Australian citizenship application update. New concessions for 485 visa holders and applicants. Alright, let's start part 1. Update on borders and travel restriction. The big news coming out recently is that starting December 1st, a fair amount of visa holders will be able to enter Australia without a travel exemption, as long as they are fully vaccinated with an approved vaccine. The travel exemptions have been a hallmark of Australian international travel during this pandemic period. But with this announcement, we are seeing one of the first significant steps towards the reopening of the border and the resumption of normal travel. There are a total of 28 visas listed that as of December 1st, holders of these visas will no longer require a travel exemption. Some of the notable visas included in the list are the subclass 500 student visa, 300 prospective marriage visa, 462 work and holiday visa, 417 working holiday visa, 482 temporary skill shortage visa, 485 graduate visa, and 870 sponsored parent visa. This is obviously great news for international students who have faced a lot of uncertainties during this time, and also the continuation of a working holiday visas, which have always been a very popular visa. And considering the current work shortages in agriculture and hospitality, the inclusion of those visas is a very welcome news to many. You can see the full list of eligible visa holders in the article link provided in the description. As mentioned earlier, you will have to meet the vaccination requirements. So, what are the approved vaccines? The Australian government. There are currently 8 vaccines approved by the Therapeutic Goods Administration, and to meet the requirements, you will 2 doses at least 14 days apart of the AstraZeneca Covishield, Pfizer, Moderna, Sinovac, Bharat Biotech Covaxin, and Sinopharm, or at least 1 dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. If you have medical conditions that prevent you from being able to take the vaccine listed above, then you will need to provide evidence of this such as medical certificates, stating this. Depending on the state or territory you are traveling to, you may be eligible for reduced quarantine requirements when you return to Australia. Returning visitors to Australia are only allowed to enter and travel between New South Wales, Victoria, and the Australian Capital Territory, previously without quarantine, but with the emergence of the Omicron variant, all travelers will have to isolate 72 hours after arrival at those states and territory. Be aware, if you plan on going onto another state or territory, you may be denied entry or subjected to a quarantine period. Western Australia may soon be joining ICT, New South Wales and Victoria on this list. Premier McGowan announced that the state will open to international travelers once they have reached the 90% vaccination rate in the state. The state government predicted that this target will be reached by late January or early February 2022. The government will reintroduce some baseline COVID-19 restrictions for Perth international travel in late January or in beginning February 2022. These baseline restrictions include mandatory face mask in high-risk indoor settings, mandatory vaccination proof to get into nightclubs, casinos, other big events, contact registered, and the Safe WA app will still be in place in all public venues. Revised COVID-19 event and safety plans will be needed, and entry to remote Aboriginal communities will be restricted where necessary. The rules and requirements for overseas arrivals are: return a negative PCR test 72 hours before the departure, undertake a COVID-19 test within 48 hours of entry. Quarantine is not mandatory for fully vaccinated international travelers. 14 days quarantine in the designated facility is required for international travelers who are not fully vaccinated. Definitely some good news for those of you that have been waiting to travel to Perth, which, although being Australia's fourth biggest city, is still classified as regional. Perth gives potential migrants the advantage of living in an urban area but also having access to more visa options and benefits since it is regional. In other travel news, Australia has commenced the travel bubble, or vaccinated travel lane, as they are calling it, with Singapore. As of November 21st, fully vaccinated Singaporean citizens may enter Australia from Singapore. Singaporean citizens will not need a travel exemption or to quarantine on arrival. Destinations at the moment are limited to New South Wales, Victoria, and the Australian Capital Territory. They will need to present a negative PCR test from within 3 days of departure. Additionally, they will need to be a holder of the valid visa and complete an Australian travel declaration. This is only the start of other Asian Pacific countries that will join this type of travel bubble arrangement with Australia. Part 2, changes to business and work visas. One of the big announcements that came out this month for work visas is that the Section 48 bar will be lifted for those that are applying for the subclass 190, 491 and 494 in Australia. If your visa is refused or cancelled while you are in Australia, obviously you are subject to restrictions under Section 48 of the Migration Act. It bans you from applying for another visa or applying for a visa multiple times while in Australia. This opens up the options available to those that have faced a refusal or cancellation to apply for further visas, and it is also a way to try and address the labour shortages in Australia. You can find the full details for the eligibility and requirements of these visas in the article in the description. If your nominated occupation is on the short-term skilled occupation list, currently there is no direct permanent resident pathway. If you plan to get permanent residency through a nominated occupation on the short-term skilled occupation, generally you will have to apply for a TSS 482 visa first, and when you meet the requirements, apply for a 494 visa and later on gain permanent residency through a subclass 191 visa. Alternatively, if your occupation is listed under the STSOL, you can apply for the General Skilled Migration Program to obtain a permanent residency later on. However, as per the announcement from the Australian government, there will be an upcoming changes where a direct PR pathway may be possible for you whose occupation is listed on short-term skill occupation list. Considering the popularity of the 482 visa, this will streamline many applicants' PR pathway. The government will continue to provide further information on the requirements and pathway. Part 3. Other immigration and visa news. In other visa news, in continuing trend of all applications becoming digital, several types of citizenship application will start to be through online applications only unless exemptions are met. Starting from the 1st of November, you can lodge the citizenship by descent and evidence of Australian citizenship application through the Department of Home Affairs online system, the EMI account. The paper application forms for these applications will no longer be available on the department's website. The paper application forms for citizenship by control application will remain in place. However, the department suggests you lodge online citizenship by control application through the EMI account wherever possible. Citizenship application by adoption, renunciation, or resumption will remain the same. You can make this application through a paper application form. In our final news of the day, the government has announced there will be concessions enacted for certain temporary graduate subclass 485 visa holders. The forthcoming changes are generally about flexibility for visa 485 holders who cannot travel to Australia within the visa validity period due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The upcoming changes will mean replacement visas will be available for visa 485 holders who cannot travel to Australia due to the COVID-19 international border limitations. Current and former visa 485 holders whose visa expired on or after 1st February 2020 will be able to reapply for a new subclass visa 485 with the same length of stay as their original visa. The government will raise the period of stay on the 485 for masters by coursework graduates for 2 to 3 years, bringing it in line with masters by research graduates. Graduates of the vocational education and training sector will also be eligible for a 2-year 485 visa. The new visa arrangements will also expand existing provisions for students and temporary graduates, allowing time spent studying online while studying abroad to contribute toward a temporary graduate visa qualifications. Now, you may be able to reapply for a 485 visa if your visa has expired. There will also be a longer visa validity period for Masters by Coursework graduate. Following the new arrangement for Travel Exemption Australia, after the 1st December, if you are a holder of a 485 visa, you will be able to travel to Australia without a travel exemption, as long as you are fully vaccinated. Well, that's the run-up of all the changes and updates for November 2021. If you have any questions about how these changes may affect you or benefit you, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Leave a comment or questions and we will get back to you as soon as possible. You can find our contact details in the description and in the comments, so feel free to send us an email or call with an inquiry, and our advisors will be there for all your visa needs. Wonderland Consulting is here to help you. As always, thank you for watching.